Great. Welcome, everybody. My name is Mike Wickers. I'm the mayor of Cottonwood Heights, and this is the Cottonwood Heights City Council business meeting for Tuesday, October 15th. Well, 2024. Welcome, everybody. My name is Mike Wickers. I'm the mayor of Cottonwood Heights, and
We
this
do
is the
not want to
Cottonwood
hear
Heights
that.
City Council business meeting for.
Somebody saw my hand under the jacket. Hey, Sean, where's your hand?
You know how you hate hearing how you sound? Yeah. Wow. So are we okay? Okay, we're okay. Good. We are going to get started this evening by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance, and I've asked our City Councilman Sean Newell to lead us in that effort. Thank you, Sean. Item number 3 on our agenda this evening is a public hearing to receive input on the proposed budget amendment for the 24-25 fiscal year. We had our Scott, you want to come up real quick? Okay, or just give us just a brief background on this amendment, proposed amendment.
Okay, so we do adjust the budget periodically over the course of a year. There we go. Okay, and some of these items we expect, and some of these items we don't know what's going to come, and so we wait until they come, and then we make the adjustment. So the first 2 items are agreements for compensation for, we just didn't know the amount, and so now we know the amount, and so we're adding the revenues in for that. So the first item is the UDOT agreement for the Canyon Patrol snow equipment, snow monitoring aspect. We added 3 officers about a year ago to our budget to for this, and now we're receiving our annual compensation of $180,000 for that. So that will be just a reduction in overall, impact to our general fund. The second item is we were receiving $80,000 net for our 2 school resource officers that we have budgeted to Canyon School District. They've increased that to $75,000, and so that's $150,000 of net revenue, so we can add in the difference, which is $70,000 of revenue. Those are for officers that are already budgeted in the schools with that. Number 3 is overtime and expenses, overtime expense and reimbursement for the marathon that just occurred a few weeks back, $7,310 for that. And then overtime reimbursement for various requests from local companies. Every once in a while, a company will have something like a construction, and we provide that, and they reimburse us $1,905 on that. Police DUI and other State of Utah Division of Public Safety reimbursed overtime. So this could be click it or ticket, could be DUI, it could be crosswalk enforcement, other things like that. But we have a total of $21,116 of both expense and revenue related to that. This is a police rabies testing related to a holiday municipal court case. Oftentimes, usually come back to us in the form of a court fine. It doesn't come directly to us. It goes to the court and helps to offset some of that cost there. The Kara Clapp Foundation of $12,000 to go towards the purchase of a new K9 unit. And this has been talked about in the past, and we now are realizing that in the budget. Item number 8 is a K9 contribution from the Timothy Blair family of $100 to go towards K9 related expenditures. And then the Historic Committee received a grant from the state of Utah related to the survey of historical properties, and that's a $5,000 grant. So again, an increase in expense and revenue on that. And then the EDCU gave us a grant of the expense and the revenue on that. And then a Brighton Youth Football Scholarship Program for various players in the city who are not able to afford that, a $2,000 donation to that to allow them to have some players play. So overall, we're increasing expenditures $50,111, and our revenues are increasing $297,931 for a net impact on our general fund of savings of $247,820. Moving to the capital projects fund. So each year we are not able to finish our capital projects. When we don't finish a capital project, let's just make some imaginary ones up, say it's $1 million capital June. the remaining amount would flow to fund balance at the end of the year, and then we need to rebudget that in order to be able to utilize that in the next year. So we take whatever remains and we rebudget that. So there's no new costs that we're talking about here. These are all projects that were budgeted for and funded in prior years that we need to carry forward. Many of these in the capital projects funds are roads related, but there is also a significant amount that's in there for the Bonneville Shoreline Trail and other things. So there's 6,000 or 6,702,000 of expense and 2,482,000 of revenue for a net of 4,220,000 as we have that rebudgeting moving forward. And then in the stormwater fund, there's 932,000 of expense that needs to be rebudgeted. And again, all that's related to some stormwater projects that are ongoing that crossed the end of our fiscal year and are going. So that's what I have there, and I'm done unless there's any questions.
Great. And I do not currently have any comment cards on this item. Is there anybody here that would like to comment on the budget amendment? This is specific to our proposed budget amendment. Okay, so seeing none, I will close the public hearing, and we will move to item number 4, which are our city council reports. Once a month, we give the council the opportunity to report on some of the things that they're working on. We're going to begin this month with our council member in District 4, Ellen Burrell.
Thank you. Well, we have some, but we also have some challenges along SR 210 Wasatch Boulevard through District 4 based on this seasonality this time of year. The last hurrah, apparently, for those who want to come up into Big and Little Cottonwood Canyon. The noise levels have to vehicles of all types reaching their top speeds as they go through our neighborhoods. And hearing a lot from my constituents. They are interested in slower speeds, which would be commensurate to. I do want to assure my constituents who live in the Dover Hills area, there are some of the mature evergreens, 2 out of the 4 the plan from the beginning. And I have been interacting with our economic development director, and he has assured homes and with the construction company that's building the park to rectify that situation. Let's see, I want to really commend them for their support as they put on their own educational and social events, and those are ongoing. Is to convene monthly and address a number of aspects that enhance our parks. And I really commend each and every one of the people that also want to commend the subcommittee on active transportation. They're doing some great work, and they're working with staff, and we're pretty excited. Works Department and our director, Matt Ship, for the building of the first raised crosswalk in association with the neighborhood drive just near where it meets. So if you haven't been over to check out that new facility, and hopefully we'll encourage more of our residents to walk or ride to the park. And so that's my report. Thank you.
3, Councilmember Sean Newell.
Good evening, everyone. I have 2 of the committees that first one is the arts. One of them would be the Monster Mash, which is going to take place October 25th from 5 to 7. That will be held, I believe, at the Rec Center, correct? Coming up, that's actually free on December 6th. But one of the most fun things I want to do tonight is Whitney has led us in a number of different projects on our Arts Council as the artist of, I should say, she's actually doing Hollow Ink, which is a participatory online drawing event. And she has done so many great things for our community. It's phenomenal. So I want to thank you, Whitney, and on behalf of myself, Mayor, and the council for being here and for all that you do for our city. I got you. You didn't know that was coming, did you?
Did you mention that she painted the mural at Mountain View Park as well?
Yes. Oh, I should have said that. I talked about it at Mountain View Park for the new B, I should say. I call it the B mural, but it's beautiful. And if you have a chance, go down there and take a look at it and enjoy our pollinator garden. It's the Canyon School Foundation. The Canyon School Foundation, they actually raise funds to share with all of our different classrooms at different schools for different projects that were presented. And we call these Scholarship Month. We'll actually get on a bus as board members for this Canyon Foundation and hand deliver each of these nominal thing that they do. The types of things that they're funding are things from like mini bike building in the classrooms. And the individual teachers actually apply for funds, and they set forth their proposal as to what to give them in a monetary fashion. And this is our chance to really sell in the work that they're doing for our students in our classrooms in the Canyons district. Then thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Newell. from Council District 2, Councilmember Suzanne Highland.
That I sit on. One is Emergency Management, another Cottonwood Heights Business Association, and another is the CH2, which is coordinating with the city with the Cottonwood Heights Recreation Center and all the events. Who saw the agenda, you know that we did some emergency management training. That's always a great reminder to us that hope is not a plan, that we need to be able to be prepared. I was actually recently really jolted out of my comfort zone because my uncle lives in Asheville, North Carolina, and they still have no power or water. What was mentioned tonight in our emergency training is we have that level of emergency and help is penny that the sky is falling, but it could. And so let's be prepared. Cherished tradition at Cottonwood Heights, and we're grateful to the Arts Council and also the Youth City Council and all those who fun. But I do also want to mention, because I sit on the Cottonwood Heights Business Association, that there's a trunk or treat on October 31st from 3 to 4:30. Who would be willing to set up a trunk for our trick-or-treaters, that you can contact the city and they'd be grateful for your contribution. And then last, it's the 40th year of the Thanksgiving 5K in Cottonwood. It's like a punishment type way. Okay, I got to run before I can eat all that food. So please register early, and I won't give you a website. You wouldn't remember it anyway. So just Google Thanksgiving 5K Cottonwood Heights and Thanksgiving in our city. That's it.
Thank you, Councilmember Highland. And then from Council District 1, Councilmember Matt Holton.
Whitney, Mount View Park is in District 1, and you absolutely rocked it. I don't even know. Do you live in Cottonwood Heights? Okay, I know you have a business here, right? Okay, so both. Well, anyway, thank you so much for doing that. Just want to address, we had a conversation earlier in regards to Wasatch Front Waste and Recycling, an increase fee. I just want to let residents know that this is what you pay for today. So today, you pay $19.50 for your black garbage can and your blue recycling can. With that fee, you also get vouchers to go to the landfill. So they gave out 1,228 in Cottonwood Heights this last year. I don't think all residents know about this, but you can ask for certain vouchers to go and do a drop off. Every January, they come by. If you take your Christmas tree, put it on the curb. This last year, they picked up about 30 tons of Christmas trees. And that happens all January. So they'll just come by with trailers and pick them up. There is a leaf drop off at Bywater Park where you can take all your bagged leaves, put them in bins there. Also, when it comes to glass, you can either get a glass bin, that is an additional fee, but you library, and there are bins there to drop it off. That is included in your $19.50 fee that you pay. Over the last 4 years, they had an increase of cost to their trucks as you're going. Again, my garbage day is on Wednesday, but those trucks are going every single day to different locations. And that increase of cost has gone up $114,000 per truck over the last 4 years. As you can also imagine, trying to get staff with a CDL license specifically to go and do tour. And so they've had some they've had to focus on retention. All of those things with salaries increase to truck costs and inflation and the services they're providing. There's a proposed increase of $5.50 to $6.50 a month that the board will be voting on in the next few weeks. So if you have thoughts on that, please feel free to reach out to me. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Holton.
Mayor, may I also, just to brag a little bit, Whitney is in District 3.
Oh, you should move. I know a realtor.
So I'm just going to take a minute or so and tell you about one of the so Cottonwood Heights, the city contracts for fire services with and emergency services through Unified Fire Authority. And I'm going to have Riley turn on his microphone because I'm going to talk to him for a second and have him add to this little segment. A board meeting, and one of the people that presented was Chief Case. And he is part of a group called what that's under FEMA?
It's called Utah Task Force 1.
So he's part of the Utah Task Force 1. And inside that group are 30 members of UFA. So 30 firefighters from UFA. And who else? Chief?
That's how many deployed. We have probably 100 or
Oh,
so
okay.
that-
So we have 100 members of UFA. That
City, Park City, Provo, West Valley, I believe Sandy Draper. So there's 9 other departments that help support task force.
that Utah Task Force. So this Utah Task Force over the past month deployed to North Carolina. In
19 days total.
19 days they were there assisting the people of North Carolina to remove debris. A lot of their efforts were actually designed in the beginning in searching for survivors that were stuck. But removing debris, some of the other things that they did, Chief, do you remember?
Yeah, they do a lot of technical rescue type stuff. So they're searching cars and rivers under debris piles, collapsed structures. To do that, they had to rappel off a lot of different things that we don't rappel off of usually, but bridges and getting down into deep riverbeds and debris piles and just a lot of kind of tricky, dangerous stuff.
Yeah. So the reason I wanted to bring this up to you is to let you know that Cottonwood Heights played a small part, and there are other states that were affected, obviously, too. But the devastation was actually unbelievable. Some of the pictures that we were shown this morning of the struggles that they went through from the hurricane. Milton, I guess, was the first one.
Or Helene was the first.
Elaine was the
Milton
first one. That's
second
right.
yeah.
That's right. Anyway, so I'm grateful that we are part of an organization, and I think as a city that presented this morning. I'm out of time, so actually we're going to move on. I'll maybe mention that next time, Chief. But it was another great rescue. So anyway, thank you. Okay, and I'm going to invite our first resident up, which is Runar Bowman. Hi, Runar.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. I was on your website tonight. I just thought I'd speak a little bit about this. I did notice and it's a granted position, meaning the money supposedly for this position is being funded by grant money, and it's kind of lengthy. It says, under general supervision of the city's Community Health Coalition, Health in the Heights. The Community Health Coalition is used to bring partners together to review data, identify priorities and resources, and implement as a Communities That Care program within the Salt Lake County Health Department. As such, this position will work closely with the Salt Lake County Health Department, as well as local school leadership, community volunteers, and others of the Health in the Heights Coalition. That tired me out. I like that's okay. That's a mouthful. I'd like to kind of know what why is this position in our community? But maybe I'm misinformed. I'd like to know. So, why is it needed? And how are we going to measure success on this position? I think the city council is tasked with the business of that services, that's things of that nature. And yet here we are getting involved in some kind of a health coalition that, problem they're going to be solving, at least not that they're stating. And the real problem I have is that, it says it's only funded for a year with this grant money, and yet we're going to take it on because once you start a new city position, it never dies, it never goes away. They just don't. They'll be here permanently. So are we going to take on that additional salary and is really not in the best interest of the city in terms of what the council is supposed to be focusing on? I view it as kind of a waste of time and waste of money. And I'd like to be curious to know what happens in a year if it's not funded. Are you guys going to fund it? Thank you.
Thank you, Renar. With an explanation of some of it, the money came from that big opioid settlements, and for this position to continue, it would need to be funded. Anyway, but you raised some good points, and I'm going to have staff come reach out to you with a bit more details about what they are specifically. That was a fair question. So the next person I have is Nick Oliphant. Hi, Nick.
Hi, Sid. How are you doing, guys? My name is Nick Oliphant, and I've lived here in this wonderful community. I'm proud to call this Cottonwood Heights our home, and we're deeply invested in its continued success. I'm here excuse me, guys. I said the city consider allowing residents in single-family zone areas offer short-term rentals, specifically those who retain their home as their primary residence. I believe this would be a positive change for many families like mine who love everybody to its vibrant city. The city council's been discussing requiring short-term rentals be owner-occupied, and I fully support this. Their home for short-term rentals during ski season as a way to supplement our income. For many residents, this would be a critical support. We have an aging population who could stay in their homes longer. Similarly, younger families like mine are feeling the financial pressure of today's economy, and supplemental income from short-term rentals could help us continue living here in the city that we love. For my family, so where we engage actively in the community, which you guys all stole my thunder about what Whitney has done here. Small business in Cottonwood Heights called the Smartest Artist, where she fosters creativity in the community. We also support and volunteer for the local art council. Butlerville Days contribute to a local mural, which I'm so proud of her, to enhance our public spaces. Continue being part of what makes Cottonwood Heights special. One way to ensure I want to stress that we are dedicated to neighbors or in the community. In fact, we've already successfully operated a short-term rental in San Diego City, adhering to the regulations without any issues. One way to ensure responsible management is short-term. We're happy to provide proof of residency to show that we're invested in this community. We're asking to be able to make affordable living in Cottonwood Heights while maintaining our deep roots. I want to keep my family connected, hosting extended for the holiday, opportunity to continue being contributing members, and to allow short-term rentals in single-family zone areas. Thank you, Council.
Thank you, Nick. Appreciate your words. Yep, and that's a topic of discussion in the next few months. So, Randy Long. Hi, Randy.
Hi. Yes, my name is Randy Long. I live at 8610 Kings Hill Drive. That cane, of course, is when the trail crosses private property at the beginning, just as a lot of trails do. That's due to private inholdings. And even national parks have some. In Utah Zion National Park has 2 or 3, and Capitol Reef has at least 1. So again, we can to save it. Make it so the owner, possibly can't close it off. And again, there's several other canyons around there the same way. huge canyons that way. It's been granted there, but finally. And well, maybe Jeff Smith, maybe it's a lot line can be granted too. I don't know. It'd be nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy. Okay. Do we have any comments online we need to submit? Jared? Go ahead and close the citizen comment period. We're going to move to item 6 on our agenda, which are two different. We'll begin with our police department report. And I think our police chief, Roy Russo, and support services manager, Candy Terry, is going to take care of this for us. Hi, guys.
Can I first correct and tell them it's Candy Smith?
Congratulations, Candy.
Okay, we will get started. Where's it at? Oh, sorry, I'm impatient. I apologize. Month of September, our calls for service did decline slightly. We do have 1431, and for our on-view calls, we do have 317, but the decline is normal for September.
Because kids are back in school.
Yes. Well, and people are still trying to enjoy the end of summer and they're getting out and about. These are our calls for service by district. Here are our response times. They are up a little bit from last month. However, again, that is normal. We're calls for service going down. And then we did have several officers that were in training. And here is our crime stats. We did have a total of 31 theft and we only had 1 stolen auto. So we are down from last year. As you can see, our arrests also did decline in September. We did have 39 adult and 2 juvenile. Traffic citations, we had 269 and 141 warnings, and then we did have 3 DUIs. So last year, it was 2 of our traffic officers in a 2-week training, and 1 was gone to a conference, so it was kind of a little bit this month. So you'll see October will go right back up.
Do you know what the numbers were for?
I didn't run it for last year.
She was asking what kind of impact the traffic officer.
So I can go back on traffic citations. I can if you'd like that information.
How about we do that?
So I just crime, and that's the only one I collect from year to year.
But I think we will the units so you can actually chart how they compare to time when they weren't working. I think that was your question, right? As we go. Okay.
Thank you. Here are our accidents. Accidents are up. You'll continue to see a trend as we start into the snow months. 43 property and 11 injury. Our code enforcement animal control. We did have 2 attended and 2 unattended deaths this last month. And then here is our 3 months in review. Here is a heat map of all the property crimes for September. As you can see, District 1 has always the hot spots down there.
Andy, you don't have to say that out loud.
Sorry. Target and Home Depot. District 1, District 2, 3, and 4. And then these are all the citations in the areas that were issued.
And let me jump in here on that. When you look at the heat map, it's representative of our city. When you compare, we do that actually because we have a team that goes out with a countywide team that targets areas where there's high crimes or they look for fugitives. They put the heat map up, and Colorado Heights doesn't actually even appear on the valley-wide heat map. So although it'll appear because we do it locally, and you'll see some spots that are orange or red and compare. So,
Can I ask a question about that slide? Go back. So was there just no speeding on Creek Road in Danish and Wasatch, or is it just not patrolled? Creek Road. Well, I just see the red. It just seems like really.
If you see
East side.
the blue, they're just 20 or so citations issued. So there is the blue-green on Wasatch. So say that is down in this area.
I just see, I mean, the most red, of course, is Bengal, Highland, Fort Union, over in the Union Park area. Patrolling, more just my nature of the.
yeah,
Okay.
Right, I mean, more cars, more.
right, and bad behavior. So they watch the main arteries a little closer. That does not mean that we don't go out to individual neighborhood complaints and aggressively handle those issues when they occur. Well, they designate fault on it, but first of all, it wasn't made a left turn in front of another motorist and caused the accident. There's no indication whatsoever that the other motorist was speeding or not traveling the designated speed limit, and they can't tell us initially whether a citation was issued or not. Where they appear in court. The important thing is they designate it. you recall, we're pretty proud of this, tweak the ordinance for us on nuisances, and we brought it before you, and you passed it, and then we brought you an amendment to clean up some language. And it's important to note that we don't initially take this aggressive approach. We have to step it up, and that means citations or something more aggressive. In this case, this individual who lives on 27th East, I've actually heard from most of you. This person, we've tried bringing compliance, we tried to find remedies for him, we offered assistance. We even went so far as to have warrants issued and book this person in jail. Wording in the ordinance allows us to, when he failed to comply one last time after 7 years, and I have to give Matt's crew a shout out because we maintain the property and the peace, and his 11.
No, there were 14 dump trucks.
Yeah, and you can see it really does not even do it justice, but the picture up there, because they were just so proud of that house being cleaned up. And, they just came out and they watched and found it was actually really refreshing and satisfying to be able to clean that up for those neighbors. I mean, imagine impact your life. And other than, a few rats and a raccoon running away after they moved the debris, there was no real instance, although the homeowner wasn't completely satisfied. But what happens now? So Matt has given, and the police department's given their costs, and we'll give them over to Mr. Jurgis's unit, and he'll to pay that bill, in which time we'll lien the property. So when they attempt to sell it, that we're first in line. So
Awesome.
there are more of these in the city. So we'll go to the next one and do the same thing now that we have some experience with it.
So make sure you're out looking for kiddos.
And she's going to go to questions, but before that, let me just, because we won't have a chance to see you for high profile issues in the city in the last few weeks. So I wanted to talk about, in the parameters I can, we had a homicide that you're aware of on that case, and we can provide that sheet to you with list of charges. But there's more to come. It was very complex and detailed investigation, something that we don't normally see here. And this was around the clock every single day. Many hours went into it, but they were able to culminate it with an arrest. And I think we'll continue to progress. And, this is particularly impactful because there were 3 lost a father, and their mother's been criminally charged. Bicyclist accidents yesterday. We had Highland and Fort Union, or Bengal and Highland. That's currently under investigation. Can't talk too findings, but we also had an armed robbery at 3 o'clock this morning at Maverick. This person is convicted last night. They went in with mass, and they had a getaway car driver, and the one goes in with an AR-15 rifle and holds up the clerk and left. But the mistake was that he actually did that in Concord Heights, so he got caught and doesn't threw the gun. But we got a lot of help from around the valley, including the aircraft and our drone program, and we took both of them into custody. And I will mention that gang member that was undocumented that moved across the border into our city. So if you think that's, which one am I missing?
Take a second, Chief, to commend you on the investigative work that I know that happened with that homicide. I know that people were unbelievable. Department did to make sure that they did things the right way and got that type of evidence that they needed, and that they did everything so not have anything, allow them to get off. But I've been told multiple times by other people, and so thank you for your staff and everybody who put in so much time on this.
Well, thank you. We have some very seasoned experts in the area that came from bigger, larger departments who've done several cases, being, a mid-sized department or small department, who were given the opportunity to learn. That case continues, and we'll just leave it at that.
Children are safe.
3 children are in state custody. More with you after.
Well, thank you, Chief. Appreciate it, Candy. Thank you. Okay, the next standing quarterly report is for. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Mayor and Council. Thank you. So I guess the cleanup act here tonight, I won't take everybody's time, but we've accomplished this fiscal year and all the projects we're wrapping up. I know we talked a little bit about it, and over the chance at this opportunity to brag about my staff and the work that they've done to make this happen. So just on our quarterly, there we go. Okay, we finished Prospector Drive reconstruction. Just some statistics, if it means anything to you, about 18,000 square yards of asphalt. Flat work, meaning sidewalks, about 8,000 feet. Flat work and driveways, and then about 10,000 square feet of sidewalk. A lot of work went on in Prospector. It's rebuilt. We've had a lot of good input from the residents about the contractor and residents in that area for their patience. This was a hard one. One way in, a lot of cul-de-sacs. We also did we called it the Town Drive, but Town Drive included Town Drive, Town Circle, Canterbury Lane, and Tony Circle. To give you an idea of what it looks like, you can see a couple of the pictures. It's new, the new surface, the waterways, and everything that went in. once again, if you're a statistical nerd or you keep track of these things, about 7,200 square yards asphalt, square feet of driveway, then sidewalks, and then waterways. So we did a lot of stormwater work up there off of 27 in this area as well, to try to relieve some of those problems that are going on with stormwater. We now have a sidewalk with the finalization of this that connects from from Bengal Boulevard all the way down to Canterbury on the completion of this at Tony Circle. So that's been completed. As we all are aware, box signal was installed. This was caused a lot of problems along to Wasatch Front Regional Council for allowing us to move this. Wouldn't be working on it till this year, to be honest, next year. If it was on the, at Bella Vista Elementary School, and stop and talk to the crossing guards there. They absolutely love it, and they enjoy having it there, and they feel a larger measure of safety because of it. I just pushed that button twice. Just the crossings are there, and we're excited to have it functioning. We did a lot of Cape Seal work to date. October 15th, we put about 1.9 million square feet down of slurry as well as a chip seal. So a lot of work went into that. And the roads we did, Highland Drive from Bengal to Creek Road, 1300 East to I-214. Not sure where that is, but I'll search that out. So that's probably where all of our chip seal went. To Union Park. Note to self, do a quick review. Attached to City Hall. So we did Bengal Boulevard. So we did all of those roads. We did our major roads to $1 a square foot. If we were to have to tear up any of these roads to do a full, such as Prospector and those roads, we're about $9 to $10 a square foot at this point. So it is a huge difference that we maintain on a continual basis with these roads. To reconstruct Fort Union, if you want to go on Google Earth and do a little bit of the math, it's an astronomical number to reconstruct it. So therefore,
How long does this seal coat last? What are your
These will
thoughts?
get you about 7 to 10 years before you need to do it again. That doesn't mean we're not crack sealing between now and then. Cracks will always reflect up through. If there's a crack there, it will find its way through the asphalt. And about 8 years ago with a chip seal, and now we're doing it again, and we're moving through that.
I guess we have short memories, but there were a lot of disbelievers. And then after it was all done, even
Yeah.
better than I imagined it could.
Yeah, the Cape Seal, it is a rough slur, there's no doubt, but travel on those roads, is what smooths it out. Even the chip seal eventually smooths itself out, but we went ahead and did the Cape Seal, which capped the chip right away. And like I said, we had a few problems on contractor, we pointed out, and the contractor rectified the problem with two running.
Matt, let me ask a question real quick.
Yeah.
So on our border roads like Union Park and Creek Road, if we were to do anything with those, would we request a splitting the cost with Sandy and Midvale?
Yeah, the issue, not the issue, but getting the two to agree on what type of treatment is important. Stripe our half of the road. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. We'll stripe both sides. Sandy also, along with the county, was there. Pro quo, we back and forth on a few things, but yes, we on with our neighbors on 30th East, and they split the cost half and half, and so it's kind of everybody matching their budgets to work at the same time. My staff wanted me to make sure I showed this to you. They're very excited about their GoPro. So I said, I can't do that all night long. So anyway, there we go. We're at the end. So it's not Cape Seal over here. Oh, no, I don't know how to change. Okay. Banbury Road. You've heard a little bit about this. It is a raised crosswalk. It has RRFBs, rapid reflecting flashing beacons. It's a real wonderful name, saying it fast, but it's an RRFB. We have signs. It's as one of our first ones because it was the least cost because of the stormwater issue. If you look at these, you'll notice that the curb and gutter, this to do a storm drain system and figure that out. But both east and west. Oh no. It sheds east and west. So this is what went in, and this is somewhat of the final product. You can see walks for pedestrian safety, or at least in the park areas. I think this is a great reminder to people driving in the park, in the area by the park, that they are in a location such as this. Actually, with the material, raised crosswalk sign striping, we will investigate, and at the retreat, we'll talk about another session, but it's been well received by the residents, and we completed the sidewalk, as you can see over here as well. So that sidewalk is completed all the way through. That is,
Question.
backing up.
Just curiosity, what kind of trees are they and how fast will they grow?
Gosh, now you're going to ask me the question, aren't you?
Well, it just had people ask, like, how quickly, especially because we want tree-lined streets, like, how quickly can we
Before you
accomplish those
start, what
things?
I understand and what I've done, I'm not an arborist by any stretch of the imagination. We because you can get the 3/4 to 1 inch calipers. They're very small and wispy right away. So we went ahead and did the 2 inch caliper. Generally speaking, before you start seeing any real growth in something of this size, I'm told it's about 5 years before it's off. I forget golden something. Golden.
One of the, having a committee that is about sustainability and the importance of native plants, plants that will not require years of their life. And so if we're setting standards for what will be in future neighborhood byways and in park strips, just as a council committee, I would like to Works Department by, having a citizen can be a model for sustain Salt Lake County.
Up a ways, just, I want to.
We do in our ordinance, we have in our ordinance, and this is considered in one of those. As these trees grow, keep working it. It looks like a popsicle as you keep going up till it finally starts. But this is, we have to keep it. There's a lot of work that'll have to be done to shape these trees when they start taking off, if you will. Storm drain, we've talked a little bit about this. That project is complete. This is the home at the bottom of the hill. You can see that these 3 storm drains during the last big storm did not see a whole lot of water because of the safety measure, and just wanted to bring that up. Talked about, I believe, at the last retreat, if I recall. This was the waterway. You can see it right here, what it looked like that. So we removed the waterway and installed a storm system, these types of things. And now this is the new product. You can see the waterway's gone. With this, as I'm sure the delivery drivers are as well, because no one's having to pull their trucks out of the sidewalk project. It is still under construction, but the track on Fort Union, looking at where we're looking at final completion of the whole, and this is this is the cycle. It's part of the same project. I apologize. And then the 1700 East sidewalk is completed again, and this to 7200 South and traverses west down 7200 South to tie the sidewalk in completely.
Excited, of course, you do hear a couple residents that complain about them to let the folks do their job and finish it. I'm sure that Matt will get a tough process for the people that live right there, but in the end, it's a beautiful project.
They really have. They've worked well with the contractor, but yes, anytime you're doing this kind of work, you are going to. So, Supernal Drive, this was an emergency repair. This is a storm drain, and then I'll finish up about 15 feet down. It broken, and over the years, it just kept washing underneath the home or underneath this year, it just fell in. It just dropped about 8 feet, just gone. So the back, we've gone in there and worked this out. It's been great. The owner of the home has been absolutely wonderful, a great person to work with. I think it was easier on them because they're back in Vermont been in constant communication with them. And that is the end of what we wanted to present tonight. Are there any questions about any of the projects?
Creek Road, all the extensive work that was done on the hill, I believe it's Pepper Hill. That was quite a job for your crew. That was intense.
Yeah, the stormwater project, major project for the city to, like I said, to help take care of that home at the bottom and all the flooding that's occurred.
Yeah. Well,
You do. Thank you. So our last item on our agenda is just approval of our consent calendar, which is our minutes for the City Council Works 24. Can I get a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
A second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. All